2011 Hyundai Santa Fe, the affordable SUV choice for your average soccer mom. She squints her eyes as she walks up to the car, making it look more like a Lexus. As she heads over to the local soccer game, she loads the kids, the dog, and all the other accessories into her Hyundai Santa Fe. She feels a sense of regret as she drives her Hyundai Santa Fe, wishing she was driving the Lexus counterpart instead. What she doesn't realize is, if you take away the badges, you have an SUV that looks just as good, if not better than the Lexus and other high-end luxury brands. With its angled taillights, large front grille, and body lines that flow well together, it sure keeps up with the best of them. If only we could all squint our eyes, but only enough that we block out the badges and judge the car or product by its real worth, and not the illusion of value that a badge gives it.
Alright, 2011 Hyundai Santa Fe. Alright, how's the interior? It's pretty nice, you know, for a Hyundai Santa Fe. As nice as it's gonna get. No, I'm just joking, but I do like the interior for what it is. It's kind of got, like, it looks more like an Acura or a Lexus would look without feeling as nice as those interiors. Like, it's got like the wooden panel, it's got like all the chrome look, but everything is like cheaper materials, but they don't feel bad. Like, I'm pushing the buttons now and they have a nice feel for them. I've certainly felt a lot worse. The steering wheel isn't wrapped in leather, so it doesn't feel as nice. The seats are still cloth. Yeah, and the seats, they're probably my biggest gripe about this car. They feel alright when you first get in, but after you start driving for like an hour, you just want to get out of these seats. They're really bad, actually. Like, they have a nice position, and when you sit, it's at first it's not bad, but once you start driving for a while, they get really uncomfortable. Yeah, so the steering wheel isn't leather wrapped, cloth seats, but this isn't the luxury model. You can get a leather wrapped steering wheel. You can get leather seats in this car. This is just the base model. I like the gauges a lot. They have chrome rings around them, and they have a nice look. This whole interior has like a really nice look to it. It looks a lot more upscale than what it really is. Like, it looks good and it feels its price point. It's really not bad, honestly. It's got two cup holders here. It's got Bluetooth standard. It's got USB, iPod, aux. It has two power outlets. I mean, this car actually has two power outlets up front. There's one in the rear as well. If you're tailgating at like the football game or whatever, you know, whatever you do for fun, it's nice to have that outlet back there by the hatch in the trunk. It's got two storage bins right here. One flips open. Good amount of storage. This car is one of the biggest cars in its class for a mid-size SUV, so it's actually really roomy. It's almost the size of a full-size SUV. I mean, they categorize it as like mid-size and then up to full-size, and this is like the biggest. I don't know if it's the biggest. When I was doing my research, I couldn't find any of them that were bigger than this in terms of cargo room and space. So this is, I mean, if you look at the pictures, you can see it. It's just bigger than most of the other competitors. Alright, start it up. You know, not the best sounding engine, but I don't think anyone really cares when they're buying a Hyundai Santa Fe what it sounds like. Gotta love that four-cylinder. Four-cylinder in a big SUV like this. Show everyone who's boss. Yeah, there we go. So this car is 175 horsepower and a 2.4 liter four-cylinder. This car also comes with a V6 with 276 horsepower, which is the version I actually prefer. Alright, like start out here. We're in park. Oh, this car has Tiptronic, so you can shift if you want your own gears, which is honestly kind of gimmicky, but if you need to hold out a gear longer than you need to, then, I mean, it's not bad. It works. You have it. Alright, so yeah, let's get out here. Alright, one of my first impressions here. Yeah, it's, I mean, again, pretty comfortable. It's just the seats after a while just feel horrible. When you first start when you first start going, the first like 30 minutes, it's not bad. Move my seat back a little bit. All right, let's pull out here. See all the power. Yeah, this car's 175 horsepower and a 2.4 liter. You know, honestly, for a car that weighs, SUV that weighs around like 3,800 pounds, I couldn't get an exact number because it depends on what it depends on like what options you have. So I'm driving the all-wheel drive 4-cylinder, so there's a little bit around 200 pounds of extra weight, give or take, from what I can tell, from what I read. And the 4-cylinder, like the power, like the best way to describe it is it's adequate. It's not. This isn't a Corvette or anything. You're not gonna feel underpowered in this car unless you're like a real junkie for power, obviously. But I've driven slow SUVs and slow trucks, and this is not like slow where you're trying to merge on the highway. It feels almost dangerous because of how slow it is. This isn't like that. This is adequately powered for a 4-cylinder SUV of this weight. I mean, it's a 6-speed automatic, so it's geared really well, and that really helps it pick up. Honestly, like the gearing is the best part about it. This car has an eco mode, which kind of like dulls the throttle to save you gas a little bit. I haven't really noticed that much of a difference. It turns off as soon as you give it like more than a half a throttle, and then it goes back on. So it turns off automatically, or you could turn it off yourself in the dash. The 4-cylinder with the all-wheel drive gets 20 city and 25 highway. Some websites said it got 26 on the highway, but pretty much it gets the same. The 4-cylinder with the all-wheel drive gets the same gas mileage as the 6-cylinder version, which has around 100 extra horsepower. And the 6-cylinder has 276 horsepower, so you're getting the same gas mileage. Same gas mileage in the all-wheel drive version of the V6. I'm sorry, they get the same gas mileage. Now the front-wheel drive only version of this gets 21 in the city and around 28 on the highway. So it gets obviously a little bit better gas mileage because it doesn't have the all-wheel drive and the extra weight, which I like. If it were me, I would probably buy this in front-wheel drive. If I had to get the 4-cylinder, I would probably just get the front-wheel drive version because you get a little better gas mileage. You save some weight. It's probably gonna feel a little bit peppier because you did lose some weight. You did lose some weight, don't we all? But no, it lost some weight, the car. So like I read the reports, the 0 to 60 with the front wheel drive version 4-cylinder of this car does 0 to 60 in 10.6 seconds. I'd imagine the all-wheel drive probably does it in like 11 just because of the extra weight. But like it's really, honestly, it's adequately powered. Like I said, you can carry people in here and you can get around, and you're gonna be all right. Like you're gonna be able to merge into traffic. You're gonna be able to get where you need to go. So this car has all-wheel drive, but it's a front-wheel drive based car. So most of the time it's just using the front wheels. But when it has like the computer, if you start to slip, it could send up to 50% of the torque to the rear. Now, if you want to do some like off-roading with this car and mess around with that, you can actually lock it so it's 50-50. So it means like 50% of the power is going up front and 50% is going in the rear. And that you can only do that up to like around 19 miles an hour. So it's really meant for like low speed conditions, or else it'll actually turn it off. Like above 19 miles an hour, it turns it off. So it's really meant for like, if you're really trying to get out of somewhere like in low speed conditions, you're like stuck and whatnot, it's gonna turn off past 19 miles an hour. But like I said, I mean, if you're on the highway, like most 4-wheel drive systems, like the four, it's kind of trying to act like 4 low, but without being as good as like a true 4-wheel drive low system. But that's what it's trying to mimic. It works pretty well. I mean, I was messing around. I have some shots of me messing around off-roading. I mean, this isn't like meant for off-roading, but honestly, it's really, it does the job. It'll, like you said, it'll get you like through trails and stuff and light off-road duty. It's really not bad. I mean, you'd be crazy to try to like mod this thing to make it an off-road vehicle, but I mean, you could. Anything's possible. It just wouldn't be my first choice. Obviously, I would take like a Jeep or something. All right, here we go. Oh, traction control off and 4-wheel lock on. Oh, we're already spinning. Hold on, Jake. Hold on, everybody. That camera's probably moving like crazy. Whoa! See, it can be fun driving a Hyundai Santa Fe. You know what you're doing. You holding on all right?
Yep.
Just wanted to give everyone a first-person perspective on what it's like to go off-roading a little bit. And a Santa Fe. Oh, wow. See, it's good the camera's shaking so you guys get an actual feel for what it feels like in this car. All right, so the power's not bad. You know, this honestly, this car, it's funny. It's categorized as an SUV, so it's like sport utility vehicle. And this car is actually on the stiffer side for an SUV. It doesn't ride as smooth as a lot of the other ones, but the trade-off is it actually handles better. Like, it has some, dare I say it, like I don't know. Hyundai was kind of shooting for more of a sporty car. I mean, it feels like more of a sporty SUV. I mean, the steering's actually pretty heavy. You actually get good feedback through the steering. Like, you can actually feel what's going on. The brakes work pretty well. The throttle, I mean, it's an SUV. There's a bit of it's electronic throttle, and there's a little bit of a delay, but I mean, who cares? This isn't a sports car. It's good enough. And that's probably what Hyundai was thinking when they made this. Well, not the whole car, but just the throttle. Oh, it's good enough. Oh, Hyundai just throws it out. The thing about Hyundai is, it's everyone does it. It's like Hyundai could literally at this point build a car that rockets you to the moon and back, and people would be like, you know, it's still a Hyundai. Like, I feel like they could make, they just it's just maybe one day they'll be able to at least in my mind, it'll be able to. I'll stop even saying, "Oh, it's just a Hyundai." I mean, they make good cars. I like a lot of their cars. It's just they have that reputation of it's still just a Hyundai from the cars from the '90s and stuff. But they really have come a long way. But like I said, I really think if they build a car that literally shot you to the moon, and you put it on YouTube, Hyundai built car shoots to the moon, spaceship car, essentially. People will leave in the comments like with like 1,000 likes. It's still a Hyundai. I mean, that's just I think that's just how they. That's just. I mean, poor Hyundai, but that's pretty much what would probably happen. So it's just their reputation. It takes a long time to like build your reputation up, and they had such a crappy reputation in the 90s, and it still kind of lingers, at least in my head. Some of you might be like, nah, they're great, I love Hyundai. I mean, yeah, they're good, but they just still have that like lower quality reputation. And honestly, like, I don't know why they still have it. I mean, I don't know why I still have it on my head, because this is a nice car for what it is. It's really nice for its price point and whatnot. Yeah, so anyway, back to the handling. So this car has pretty heavy steering. It feels more like they're trying to mimic it. They're trying to mimic it like they're trying to make it feel more like a car in the way it handles. Not even just like any car, like more of like a sporty car. It feels like, because it doesn't have a lot of body roll for an SUV. But like I said, I actually prefer SUVs on the softer side. But if you want an SUV that's a little bit sportier, that handles a little bit better, this is actually a really good choice for you. But if you want it like ultra smooth ride with really light steering, like a lot of the competitors have, then you're not going to like this car. I don't mind it per se, but I would prefer a smoother riding SUV. That's just my personal taste. I mean, if I want a good handling car, I'm just going to get a sports car. But I could see the appeal in wanting it to feel more like a car and just handle better. Like, say I'm taking this corner, yeah, no problem. You can still feel its weight. I mean, it's still an SUV. I'm not saying this handles like a sports car, but compared to the other SUVs in its class, compared to the other SUVs in its class, I mean, it does handle pretty well. Like I said, it just, yeah, you still feel its weight, obviously, when I'm throwing it through these corners, or through this parking lot, I should say. But it definitely feels sportier and just handles a little bit better than a lot of its competitors that I've driven, like the Jeep Liberty and the Nissan Murano. Like Nissan Murano, I remember that having a lot lighter of a steering. This steering has feedback through it. Like, you can feel what's going on, and this car, but it's on the like, it's not as smooth as the other ones. This is probably one of the stiffest. Like, this is definitely on the stiffer side, and it's not considered a sport. It's not considered a sport SUV. It's not like a BMW X3, so it's just kind of shocking. But like you said, that's really personal preference. I prefer smoother riding SUV, but this isn't that bad. It's not like it's not smooth, and it's pretty quiet in here. I was, driving on the highway, and it did pretty well. It's not like Cadillac quiet, but again, you got to consider the price. I would definitely, if I had to get the 4-cylinder, I would definitely probably get the front-wheel drive. If you really need the all-wheel drive, and you can get a better deal on the 4-cylinder. Like if you get this car used and you can get the 4-cylinder for like, I don't know, I would say like $2,000 or something, like a good chunk of change cheaper than the 6-cylinder all-wheel drive, then I would say go for it, because again, it's adequately powered and it'll get you around. And unless you're towing, then you really don't need that much extra power. But the V6 would be nice. I know if I was gonna get the front wheel drive only version, I would definitely just get the 4-cylinder. The V6 has 276 horsepower. I would want that with all-wheel drive. I think that's a little bit too much. It's getting on the verge of having too much power for front wheel. That's why if I got the front wheel drive version of this car, I would definitely get the 4-cylinder. And if I wanted the all-wheel, I would definitely try to shoot for the 6-cylinder, because again, it gets the same gas mileage the 6-cylinder all-wheel drive as the 4. Because this is just too much weight to lug around for the 4-cylinder, so it ends up being the same gas mileage with a bunch of lack of power. I mean, it's still 4-cylinder, so a little less maintenance. You got 2 extra spark plugs to replace, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not that big of a deal. I will say it is kind of weird seeing a 4-cylinder. When I popped the hood of this car, when I popped the hood of this SUV, it was weird seeing a 4-cylinder. It was like, oh, like in a big SUV like this, just seeing this little 4-cylinder was just really odd. It was just like, oh, okay, that doesn't look like it belongs there. But honestly, with the 6-speed transmission, it's adequate. It feels fine. Like, I'm going up these hills. I used to have a 4-cylinder Ranger and stick, a 95, and that was slow. That truck, that truck, I'd be driving around and I'd be like, it just felt dangerous at times. Honestly, it was that slow. Like I couldn't just get out of my own way. I mean, this car can. This SUV can. So I'm pretty shocked at actually how it feels, but it has 175 horsepower. That's and a good amount of torque, so it's not, it's not nothing to cry about. Yeah, the steering it's just shocking, how much weight it has compared to its competitors and other SUVs I've driven. One gripe I didn't really realize, but when you're driving, this has steering wheel controls. It has controls on the steering wheel, and most cars, when they put the controls on the steering wheel, they put them in the center across. This is these go down. They're vertical. Like they go down the controls, and it's like a minor gripe, but it's kind of annoying. I feel like it's more intuitive having them in the center going across. But maybe just probably something I'm not used to. But I feel like it would be better, because most steering wheels do have it in the center across. Probably for that reason. I just never noticed it, because it was always very intuitive, most steering wheel controls that I've used. And this one wasn't intuitive, and I was like, why am I not hitting the volume button? Because you have to reach down. You have to lower your hand down towards the bottom, because it's going down, the controls. So instead of where they should be, you don't have to move your thumbs at all, really. You don't have to move your hand at all. You can just move your thumb around. You don't have to move your hand to get to the controls. This you do. You have to move your hand down to get to the volume, change even trying to change the radio station with the one button, I still have to kind of move my hand. And that's just like a little minor thing that I noticed that was kind of annoying. Yeah, so, this car has a lot of storage. You could fit people in the back pretty easily. It's one of the biggest mid-size SUVs in its class. So if you did want something that was close to a full-size, but you didn't want a full-size SUV and you wanted the 4-cylinder, this is actually a really good choice. But again, these seats aren't bad, but after you drive them for about an hour, they really get uncomfortable, and the ride's on the stiffer side for an SUV. But like I said, it handles well because of it. Like I said, if you want that trade-off of a smoother ride for less handling, then you're not gonna like this SUV. It's definitely stiffer than its competitors. Brakes work pretty well in this car for an SUV. And what else is there really to say? The knobs have a good feel to them. Like I said, everything is cheaper materials because this isn't like a luxury brand car, but it has a luxury look to it. Like it looks like an Acura. It's trying to look like what an Acura or like a Lexus would be, but they just kind of use cheaper materials. But if you were just look at the photos of the interior, like you would, you know, especially especially the interior with the leather seats and the leather wrapping steering wheel, like this, you could almost pass this off as like a Lexus or something. Or close to it, because if you do a comparison, just look at a Lexus interior versus a Santa Fe. You're like, wow, okay. It's just when you get in the Lexus, everything feels a little bit better and more premium. But I mean, who really cares, honestly? I mean, it's just a soccer mom car anyway, right? Well, soccer mom car when you can't afford a Lexus, if we're being honest, right? Little sunglasses here, two little pockets for your sunglasses. And having the all-wheel drive actually helps you, would help you towing in, like, if you were towing in, like, you know, like dirt or something, like on a trail, or like, you know, it would help you towing like in those conditions as well. That'd be nice. Taking a left here, seeing this thing handles. Yeah, not bad. It still feels like an SUV. Still, you can feel the weight of it. It's weird because it handles more like a car, like a sharper, like even a sharper car. But you can still feel the weight. It's like you go to turn, and you're like, oh, okay. All right. So for this part of the review, I don't really have anything constructive to say. I'm driving through a neighborhood, like a really nice neighborhood, and I just want to feel what it's like to be a soccer mom, like to try to get into that headspace of, like, you know, the person that might be buying this car. So I'm driving through Soccer Mom Central, and I'm just trying to, become a soccer mom a bit, you know? It's 2017. You gotta be what you want in this life. But yeah. I'm a soccer mom! I'm living the dream! I'm a soccer mom! I made it! I'm living the dream! I just had to get it out. Oh, this person's looking at me, this little girl. Who is this guy screaming, I'm a soccer mom, and he's a guy? Has he gone through his surgery yet? Is he confused about his sexuality? I identify as a soccer mom right now. But no, I'm just this is where this car is gonna live, in Soccer Momville, and mainly just gonna be driving through neighborhoods and to the local what is that place called? The organic store, you know? Isn't that what soccer moms buy now? Organic stuff. So I mean, this SUV is really, most people buy it, you know, especially if you're a soccer mom. You're not gonna be driving this thing through like rough trails or doing anything that this thing can do. You're just gonna be driving through your neighborhood, and you're gonna just drive it to your, soccer practice, and you're gonna drive it to maybe Walmart, Target, get your organic food and stuff, and that's where this car is gonna live. So I'm driving to this neighborhood. So I am being constructive, because I'm just getting in that headspace of the typical buyer. I'm just trying to understand them as best as I can, and yeah, and it's just I'm living the dream right now. I'm a soccer mom, so it's great. It's really great. I feel wonderful. I should go get my coffee now. Oh, see, we got another soccer mom in front of us with a nicer. She's got an Infiniti though. Wow. Maybe it's a soccer dad. I can't tell. Oh, can't go around him. Now he puts his turn signal. Okay. Yeah, they got an Infinity. You know, I don't. My husband, you know, he couldn't afford that, so he said this interior is really nice for the price point, honey. You know, and I'm not getting the hours. You gotta compromise. So we got the Hyundai Santa Fe. I couldn't get the Infiniti. I couldn't get the Lexus like I wanted, and we had to compromise, my husband and I. I'm going on way too long with this. I'm having way too much fun with this, but yeah, you get the point. So all in all, I mean, this is a nice SUV. I would recommend the 6-cylinder. I looked at the prices. They're not that much different. If you can get a really good deal in the 4-cylinder, especially the all-wheel drive, I mean, I get it, but if you're gonna get the all-wheel drive, definitely try to get the 6-cylinder. If not, you know, if you just want the front-wheel drive, the 4-cylinder is a really good choice, and you really can't go wrong. Overall, this is a nice SUV. The seats, like I said, the seats aren't that great. They're comfortable at first, but they kind of get sore after a while. But, you know, I'm just probably being a prima donna. I'm just, you know, they're not that bad. It looks nice in here, but it feels on the cheaper side. But it's not bad for its price point at all. It really is, and it really has a nicer interior than most of its competitors. Got Tiptronic. So when you're trying to race people, you know, you can downshift now yourself. It's pretty nice. Oh, I'm driving, I'm a soccer mom, I'm a soccer mom, I'm a soccer mom. 2017, you gotta be who you want to be, you know? It's just too far into the game to try to be something you're not. If you identify as a soccer mom, identify as a soccer mom. Doesn't matter what gender you are. Doesn't matter what you are. Doesn't matter your age. Corey.